Yeah, Plug Talk is the best. Only podcast where the host smash the guest. Yeah, Plug Talk is the best. Only podcast where the host smash the guest. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Plug Talk. Lena, before we even introduce our guests, I just want to say that I think this is a very, very cool, organic episode because this is an example of you and I leaving the house, going out to a party, meeting a hot babe, and then we didn't take her home that night, but we made plans and we hooked up, and here we are today.
Well, that is what happened.
Miss Kenzie Ann.
Kenzie Ann. I was like, don't forget to say her name.
Miss Kenzie Ann is in the building. So you guys
That's
had
me.
did you guys follow each other on Twitter?
I've
or-
been lurking her for a while. I'd follow her, saw her at the party, and I said this to her before, but she was like a firecracker. I feel like you're just like a huge bundle of energy. I mean, and you've kept true to that, even though you're not like at a party. I've been with you for the last hour, and I feel like you're just so vibrant.
Thank you.
So we like that.
Yeah,
I like it. I need that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that around me.
Definitely. So tell me a little bit about where you're from and how you ended up here today.
Okay, so I was born in Newbury Park, California, so the suburbs of Los Angeles. It's actually Ventura County. I modeled for 10 years, so came out in LA all the time, and nothing interesting, very like wholesale e-com catalog modeling.
Like a real 9-to-5 type life as a model?
Literally. It was the most boring job, but I stuck to it.
I'm so much more used to talking to like Instagram models and stars, and we forget about the
Never
sort of
model.
regular
Yeah,
models.
you can actually find me like on like little boxes of stores and like online and stuff. So
What did you get booked for the most?
it was so e-com was like I did wholesale, so it wouldn't even be companies you'd know. It's like the catalog that they buy before it even goes to like Fashion Nova.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I get like this huge rack of clothing and I would just do it in like an hour, and then I get another huge rack of clothing.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was a lot of work.
Crazy.
But I also was a hairdresser for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I attempted to go to nursing school, and that was when I became a cam girl.
Really? Okay, so you really made a go at having a normal life, which is interesting.
Yeah.
We talk to a lot of girls who, you know, more or less their first like real job as an adult is
It was like
star, right?
stripping or something that's like.
But you really
adjacent
you
to it.
didn't know that you were a hoe at that time, or you figured this out down the road, or what?
I was in a long-term relationship. So I was in a relationship for 6 years. Thought I was going to marry the guy. Really tried to like fall into that normal life. And it just like this personality has stayed true my whole life. So like it just didn't fit.
You've
you
always
know?
been very outgoing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it got me in like trouble in normal situations.
What
I'm
do you
like,
mean?
like I made like the guy I dated feel uncomfortable for like gravitating the energy I do, not just by like the way I dress or whatever, but just the way I talk, having a loud voice. I enter a room with an energy for sure, and I know that, and I don't tone that down.
When you look back at earlier in your life, do you feel like maybe you were selling yourself a little bit short? Because I do feel like you have a big personality that you could do a lot with.
But how old were you when you
Completely.
got into the relationship?
19.
Yeah,
Okay.
super early.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, you think when you're that age that you like have to be
Yeah.
dating and be with someone.
So weird. I'm so glad I got out of it, and now I'm like, I actually had a short-term relationship after that, and I'm like, I'm just so much better being a I have so many great buddies, and like I just get to have, and it's clean sex too. We're all
Yeah.
tested. I'm like, I have like the best life now.
So when you were like 18 or 24, if we had asked you, have you ever thought about being a star? What would you have said at
I would have
those
said
ages?
yes.
You thought
really?
about
I
it.
would have said yes. I definitely thought of it, but I didn't have the confidence and the means and the support group to get myself there. I didn't even know my family was going to completely accept and love me like through this still.
Oh,
They
really?
do.
You were worried about that.
And I was worried about that.
Even though you were doing like lingerie modeling back
Yeah.
then,
They were fine with that,
Yeah.
you know, and I just that kind of went over everybody's heads. No one thought about it. And I'm like, you know, I was like, when I was a cam girl, I made it secret for a while. I was on Pornhub showing half my face.
oh wow.
And I streamed I streamed good on Pornhub. Like I had a good regular client base for being a no face girl.
That's where you were streaming. It was on. I didn't know you could actually do cam girl stuff.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
So
you
it's
can.
Streammates. So
Okay.
it's like a company that goes into, they leak into Pornhub. They're all like sister sites.
Okay.
That's interesting. Use half your face because if someone wanted to do like a reverse image search of you, if you used your whole face, and then all your catalog stuff would pop up, which would be hilarious.
Right?
Definitely.
I know.
So the guy, were you broken up by the time you started doing the cam girl thing, and was he 100% against this or what?
Yeah. So for like a month, was like camming, and I'm like, I'm just an open book, and I'm really bad at lying. So I was like, okay, I have to tell him. And I did, and he hated it. I mean, the guy like would wake up in the middle of the night with like night terrors, like freaked. It was just so, it was so radical for him that it was nothing he was ever going to accept. And even though he was trying to work through ways to go through it with me, I was like, I'm just gonna end this for you because you clearly can't do this, and I love it. Like I'm paying my debt off, I'm making money, I'm finally able to like eat more than top ramen for dinner. Like I want to stay with this lifestyle because I'm sick of being poor and in a relationship with someone who doesn't support me.
Really? So you were really struggling for all those years?
For sure.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
It just never really like came together. Like you were trying to make all these revenue streams work, but it was still kind of weak.
Yep.
How long did you cam for before you decided to do?
Like 3 years.
And you were really successful at it. Like I feel like camming is a struggle. It's a hard life.
It is, and I look back, like when I shoot VR scenes, it feels like camming again. And I'm like, oh my god, I would work like 25 hours a week and like be sitting there like riding a like bouncing up and down. I'm like, that's why I have like these intense inner thigh muscles, because I would just sit there myself on my bed for hours a day.
Oh my god.
And was that fun, or did it feel like kind of a drain?
It was fun. I love the concept of putting makeup on and dressing up and stuff, whatever. I did eventually show my face, by the way, my last year of it. And there got points where I was like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, like I don't want to do this right now. I hate too.
Really?
Yeah,
like
they don't feel good. Yeah.
So it's like to look forward to like a hard or overly soft, like there's like no in between that actually feels like a penis. So
Did you cheat during your relationship?
no,
Never.
not once.
Okay.
On anybody, on any relationship.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Loyal.
Was it
I want
hard?
to be a hoe, but when you're not
Was
a hoe.
that ever
I wasn't-
hard at times? Like you're pretty hot. It must have been kind of hard at times, right? Like you must have like cool ass dudes hollering at you at least once in a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I definitely had temptations, and that was when I kind of knew I wasn't supposed to be in the relationship in the first place. I was like, I kind of saw the people I was getting hit on, and like kind of, not to be rude to my ex, but comparing, and I was like, I could have this life instead. And I didn't. And, I actually, towards the end of our relationship, I want to say like 2 weeks before we broke up, I went on a date with a guy, but I didn't like kiss him or do anything. Like and I explained to him what was going on in my life too. Like I have a boyfriend. This is what's happening. This guy was really sweet. I was in the middle of school, and he took me to the beach and brought a record player and like helped me study for one of my tests.
He took a record player to the beach?
I don't know how the hell.
Yeah.
He had like a whole little tent set up too. I was like,
Guys, take notes. This is how
I
you
know,
impress a
right?
girl.
DJ set at your study session. Wow.
Record player at the beach sounds pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I know, right?
That makes sense to me.
Step it up.
So, okay, all of a sudden you're out of this sexual turmoil that you had been in for all these years, and finally you get to cut a rug. You're free. Like, how do you go about doing it?
How'd you
How'd you choose
celebrate?
the
What'd you
first
do?
guy?
Okay. It's actually not as quick. Okay. I then went into a relationship afterwards for like 6 months with this guy who cheated on me. I'm still friends with him, and I love him. But I'm like to get to tell him about all my sex adventures. I keep him on my close friends list so he can see what I'm up to.
Wow.
Because he's a idiot.
But you had that sort of like rebound thing where
That
you
was and
sort
I
of
liked
latch
him.
onto
I was like,
somebody.
this guy's cool. He grew weed like really well, like whatever. And then he cheated on me, and I was like, man. So after him, I want to say like 2 days later, I met a guy at the beach. And I was like, brokenhearted. Like I couldn't believe it.
Then you
cheated
really
on.
wanted to be a hoe.
Then
You were
I
ready.
was so fucking ready to go be a hoe.
Uh-huh.
So I met this really huge, tall, muscular guy at the beach, and like went on a date. Like, he was trying to take me on this cheap date. I made him take me somewhere nice in Calabasas, and I went back to his apartment and had sex with him then. Yeah, like that. And then from there on, I just kept I was on this roll of just meeting people and like initiating these moves right away. And then that was like right around like deeply going into, I guess. So then I started even better people because
So
we're way more fun
that
to
big decision though, like these days, if you see a girl and she's a cam girl and she's gonna get out of it, I feel like 9 times out of 10 they go and become a girl. You decided that you wanted to do actual. What was the motivation with that?
So I started, I created my own company named Kenzie Land, and I wanted to make my own because I really liked like some of the higher end looking things you see on or websites.
Yeah.
I'm like, as much as amateur gets me off and it's hot, I mean, I'll get off to anything, honestly, but I wanted to create this really beautiful, like crisp look of how things could be. And so I started making that, you know, Sydney, she was filming that. And what ended up happening was, Vixen then saw what I was doing, and then they asked if I would film with them. And that was one of the companies I was like, I really love their look. So I wanted to try that out. I'm like, you know, I feel like if I start off right away, I may as well like go with this company that's kind of on this level that my vision's on. And I liked it. So I signed with them for 9 months.
Nice.
And once I was with them, I was so into filming and being on set and how that whole experience is that, you know, I wasn't working a ton with them. I was ready to like let the contract end and film everywhere and fuck everyone.
Oh, definitely. So
She got her hoe.
I did.
out.
I did. And I needed to. Like in the middle of my Vixen contract, I like learned how to like I'm
Can
like
you teach me?
I don't know
Really?
what happened. I had a guy I was dating with these really long fingers, and it was first time through.
Yeah, I feel like it's the spots like right there.
Yeah. I was
Wow.
like, whew, but now I can do it like all the time.
Without that,
Yeah, without that, like on a.
if you feel like, you know, getting some on my couch.
this
it's
couch
open
has
for
a
you.
It's
free
squirt proof.
Yeah,
coating.
it has not
It's
been
squirt
squirted
proof.
on.
Okay.
But we're
Good.
open to it for
Yeah.
sure.
Good.
Wow. So anything else, like any other boundaries that you feel like you crossed, or like things that you did that you had never done before in terms of the world? Because you were stuck in this relationship. I'm sure the sex was
You had a big
at least
appetite.
sort of boring or boring for
Honestly,
a while.
I will say this: the guy that I dated and the guy after I dated, like I don't think I'm boring. So like the sex, I mean, where there is a burnout, like towards like fights or whatever happens, yes. But I'm like, I was still having good sex. Like I was still talking dirty. Like, and I remember like I had both those boyfriends actually tell me that I like a star and that I didn't need to impress them. And I'm like,
But it's
sex-
just how you want
this
it
is
to
just
fuck.
how
Yeah.
like, it's just, I'm not trying to put a show on. I'm like, sex is a fantasy. When I'm nothing else is happening in the world, you
Yeah.
know, like it's just that and
It's
that
like
only.
present in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Like you seem like you take some pride in the content, because when we were having that conversation earlier about girls who basically like fake stuff where it looks like they're eating your whatever, and they're not actually doing it, and how it's just kind of like there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in this world these days. You seem like a real purist. Like you're like,
Yeah.
no, I
I
like
like-
it. I take pride in my work. I'm gonna do
Like,
the
I
best
wanna have
job.
sex.
I want to have
Yeah.
sex. I show up. I mean, look there's an acting part of some things, but I show up to have.
It's funny because, you know, people expect you to be motivated by money or fame or whatever,
Yeah.
but sometimes when you're talking to certain girls, and I'm having this feeling with you now, and I felt this way when we were talking to Angela White on No Jumper a while ago, but it's like some people are really actually motivated by wanting to have a lot of really, really good sex, and you got to
Yeah.
appreciate that, you know?
I want to say my outlook on all of this is like, first of all, I'm single and I love being single. And second, in this industry, we get to have like some of the best sex, some of the longest sex, and some of the safest sex that anybody else is having.
That's true. It's a
like,
good environment to be like experimental and just
yeah.
get all the sex that you want out there.
And it's safe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
I was always somebody who likes to, like, even with a boyfriend, I'd be like on a date and I'd talk about what I want to do to him, you know? And I'm like, we sit here on set and we, before filming, are like, so what are your do's and don'ts?
Yeah.
And that's important.
It's
I'm like,
super open. It's super
hot.
honest. And
it's hot too,
yeah.
though. I don't know.
You like that part.
I like
Yeah.
that part. I like to know, like, when people talk about like what they don't do and don't like, it's like, okay, now I know what I can do to you.
I asked
That's
what you
awesome.
don't like, but what do you like?
I mean, it's because I said I like everything.
Oh, that's true. I did ask you what you like. You said I like everything. Okay.
I'm really
okay.
not picky.
Actually, you did tell me what you like. I remember now.
Yeah.
So what are you into?
What am I
As
into?
far as-
Her. She wants you to talk dirty to her.
Oh, so that wasn't...
She wants you to call her name.
I thought
Yeah.
that you can spit in my mouth was like, you can spit in my mouth if you want, not like I want you to spit
No,
in
I
my
love
mouth.
She
it.
likes it all,
I love
and
it.
Really?
I like that about you because I like the same shit. So.
Yeah, I'm very submissive. I was telling her,
Yeah.
I'm very submissive to men. I'm a little more dominant towards women, but I also like depends
That's
on
fine
who's-
with me because I like to be.
Yeah.
So whether he or you're me, I'm happy.
Okay, cool.
That's hot.
And I'm ready to cut. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
We gotta try to
Like,
stretch it out a
her
little
pussy is
longer.
stripping now.
I just feel my underwear getting a little.
At least you have some on.
Yeah,
But
I know, right?
that says a lot too, because I don't want to like break the fourth wall or anything, but you did with Lena maybe an hour and a half ago, and the
Yeah.
fact that we all obviously want again,
Yeah.
that says good things.
I didn't get my face in her.
No, yeah, we didn't.
I'm
I just
ready.
like to
My makeup to be absolutely ruined. I'm ovulating right now, so my body's like extra.
He's extra.
Really?
Yeah.
Face ruining mood.
I'm in a face ruining mood.
Oh,
Although I
okay.
do have a meeting right after this, but it's okay. I don't care if my face is ruined for the meeting. I'll have like one eyelash off.
As
It's
long as you have
hot.
no
It's
makeup
hot.
on,
Yeah.
then you'll be good for the
Yeah.
meeting. As long as,
Yeah.
but if you have like a in your face, then yeah, you probably shouldn't.
I'll
go to
just
the
tell
meeting.
them. Oh yeah, sorry, I just finished working.
Right. Is there any one scene that you've done since you've been shooting actual really stands out to you as like the actual height of your enjoyment of all this?
My first Boy Girl with Zach Wilde and Prince, and it was for Jules Jordan, and it was, oh my God.
You can really sense the emotion
Yeah, I
that she
know.
actually is
Because
very.
I'm still to it. Like,
Oh,
it's
that's
so hot.
Wow.
And they were so, because they both have great dicks, but there was like the treble and the bass. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow, what a metaphor! Holy shit!
it was, and the best part was there's this part I'm like laying on like this, like an arm of the couch. I have my legs up, and they're just taking turns, and I'm just squeezing.
Wow.
And
I
I'm
want to
like,
Google this later. Can we watch
That
this
sounds like a
later?
banger. Yeah.
I could not stop, and like they lost me halfway through. Like there was a halfway point where I was like, I'm tired, and they just like they're like, nope, like let's let's go again. They kept me, and I just like it was one of those scenes too where I just couldn't stop.
Oh wow.
Do you think it matters that they had a great relationship, like that they seem like boys?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. The one of my favorite parts of that too is Sydney did the pictures for that scene. She left and came back, and she walked in. She's like, "You can hear you from the car." Or from, like, yeah, I'm like, sounds about right.
Wow. Were you drunk at the end?
I was so drunk. I had no makeup on. My eyelashes, like when he on my face, were like in my eyes. My best friend actually has the screenshot of me holding both their smiling, and it's not even like a sexy smile. It's like a super like dorky, like I have on my face.
You were like so happy.
It was
Was
a
it
joyous
D
experience.
or just
No, it wasn't.
have you done?
No, because I'm saving my for a company.
Oh.
Okay.
So you have that plan.
I do have it planned.
Were you doing in your private life?
I yes and no. Like when I had a boyfriend, the one
You
that
let him
cheated
in there
on
like
me.
once a year on his
Yeah.
birthday?
No, not that one. The
You
other
were
one,
that
the one
girl?
that cheated.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
I do like. I go through phases with it though. It's not like a consistently regular thing, so that's why I'm trying to like debut this correctly because I'm like prepping for it. I'm in the middle of that right now.
Oh, so soon.
I've been practicing.
Soon. What, like tomorrow, the next day?
I love it, but I love it so much more off camera
Yeah,
because there's just the fear of what might happen. But like, I
Yeah.
feel like I've found a new joy in our sex life, and I want to encourage everyone to just do. All the
When
time
I'm
now.
in her house, I feel so
high.
close
I feel
to
like
her.
I took a drug.
That's true though, because
Yeah.
there's like because you have to really relax and you get your I felt when I was but it was retraining because I haven't had sex in like a good like 4 months.
Retraining like you're in the military.
That's what it feels like.
It's
It really
literally what
like
it
every
feels
time
like.
you're gonna go in, I'm like terrified and I
Yeah.
have to calm
Because
down.
we didn't
I'm
do it
like-
for like a year.
A year and a half. It was a long fucking time.
Yeah, I was like, hey, what I call queens, the girls that are really good. I'm like they are either like really good at like meditating on pain or someone's doing drugs.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm like it's like you are so relaxed when there's something in your.
I also just
Like,
think
it's like
every
a-
is different.
euphoric.
Like some girls
Yeah.
have an that like the first time they get a it's no big deal and they can take no big deal. Like how would you rate your in
But they have
terms
to
of
stretch it.
Sensitive.
it is it's a
Yeah.
tight
It's a definitely. I mean, okay, so that has like two muscles. Your sphincters are like your first one's the tightest one. This one's gonna be a little bit more open.
Okay.
So like it's just this initiation that usually people tear, and
Oh.
that's the part that you have to
Thank
like
God
really.
that's never happened to me. That's so
yeah,
scary.
that's
Oh
why
my
like
God.
lube. We know lube's
Yeah.
important. So
But yeah, it's like taking a drug. Just
it's nice. I'm glad we're having this discussion because you're making me. I already like texted a buddy like, hey.
what you doing tonight.
Did
You
you
already
do
feel
that?
like
Are
what
you
we're doing
picking
here
out the
might not be
dicks,
enough.
like, for
So you're like this is not gonna be enough. You're gonna need a few more rounds tonight.
I always myself up because I think that, and then I have a good with someone, and I'm like.
I'm good. I'm sad.
I do like why did tequila text that guy?
Yeah, we'll do
no.
content with a girl, and I'll be enjoying it so much. I'll be like, we gotta do this again later.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually happen,
Yeah.
but like
I
in that
know.
moment,
But
I'm like,
I'm
we
like-
gotta do more of this.
When we do a scene, like I'm gonna be so much after I leave here
Yeah.
than when I showed up, because I'm just going to be playing the images of all of the parts in my head. And so when we go home later, I'm going to be annoyed if we don't have sex.
But that's real. It's like you do the on-camera and it's like it's super fun, but also you're on camera, so there's considerations of how it looks, and you might do certain positions because it looks good on camera. That is the good part. Is then you get home, you take your makeup off, and then you actually
get to replay it in your head while you actually get
drained, and you get to go in.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fun.
I love
like
that. That's hot.
So you think you're gonna flake on this guy later?
Probably. I also like just moved, so I'm like,
Yeah.
What's the craziest sexual thing you've done in your private life since you became a single woman?
I had this guy. I love this moment. Like I had this guy I was seeing for a while. We always went on dates with like my little lush and my. He would like do the thing like across the dinner table, which is
it's
so
like a
hot.
controller.
Oh, that's
vibrator.
hot. I
I
like
have
that
one.
idea. Oh, let's do
It's
that.
so fun to do public play because no one really knows, but they also know. You know, like I spilt like my martini a little bit. Like
so you did it at the restaurant.
Yeah, like
wow.
So I'm like sitting there with this in my and he's like controlling it, and so like we're leaving all, and then I like start giving him on the way home, and he just like pulls over to the side of the road and like gets out of the car and like me like while I'm in the passenger seat like that, and I like all over his car door, and like that moment plays in my head quite often. Wow. It was fun.
The spontaneity of it is very hot.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think like
really
we need that too, especially like we're so overstimulated with like we talked about boring sex, obviously. Like who wants that?
Yeah.
Like unless you're tired or something.
Yeah.
I have an idea. We make a Trump family parody and you play Ivanka, because I feel like you're
getting Ivanka vibes.
The more I look at her, the more I'm kind of like she could be an Ivanka.
And do you want to play Trump? Because I'm going to give you a spray tan.
Yes, seriously,
get him a spray tan.
Honestly, my body's not far off either.
Shut up. We're going to have to get you like cover up all your tattoos, give you a terrible suit.
I want to be Joe Biden. I don't know.
I don't know if Joe Biden can get it up.
Yeah,
I don't
you got to be Ivanka if this is
either.
actually what we're going to do.
I'm going to be Ivanka?
I mean, you're the only other girl here, sure.
I mean, I don't know if I look anything like
I don't think this is our worst idea.
I think
this is clearly my idea.
This is our worst idea.
Say our. You definitely said that.
Not my idea.
This is clearly all
Definitely
me.
don't want to suck as Trump anyways. I think that's gross.
But now I'm like seeing you as Trump right now.
Try to unsee it.
Yeah, bad foreplay, Adam. Terrible foreplay.
That's horrible foreplay.
Shout out to all the Trump voters out here who are
Sorry,
subscribed.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you vote for him or not, we can all agree he's not attractive, right?
No.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I didn't vote for him, and I think he's hot. Anyway, let me ask you this. So
that was the best way to recap that.
You probably have other things in your head that you could do as far as goes. You could do the stuff. You could do the gangbang stuff. You could do all kinds of crazy ass shit. Do you feel motivated to do that stuff?
Oh God, yeah. I've been fantasizing about my for so long.
Really?
Like I can't wait for that to happen.
How many guys do you picture in your head?
Probably 5, I think. I think that's a a number.
Good beginner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beginner? That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of
The starting lineup of an NBA team.
Human.
I mean, I want to be passed around and have fun and like do that, but I don't want to like overwhelm and do like 8 guys.
Right.
That sounds crazy. I mean, honestly, 2 guys you enthusiastically is a lot of energy.
Are you a giver?
Like, yes.
I feel
yeah.
as if you're a giver and you see 8 people, you're like, how can
I'm
I
like,
possibly
let me have all
give
of these
myself
right now.
to 8 people? I feel like I would personally, like, as someone who hosts parties, I feel like I have to, like, give a lot of my energy to all these different people.
And my mind is still on Adriana Chechik telling us about how she
35.
casually knocked out 35, and I'm forgetting that 5 is 5 times more than the average woman will probably take.
Wow.
at a
I
time.
feel like it's pretty good and standard and considered a good amount for a
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Okay, good.
before 10, do 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Don't go from
Okay,
0
good.
to 10.
I know. I'm like, shoo. Oh,
But
sorry.
Adriana's
I
like,
spit.
she's a different animal. She's
Yeah.
She's a superstar.
herself,
Like when you
so.
said
That's
that certain
insane.
people are queens or whatever.
She's queen.
Or she's just like a sex queen
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
yeah.
She's like like weirdly too good at the whole thing, you
She's
know?
so hot too.
She was born
Yeah.
to be a
Some
in my
people
opinion.
were.
Yeah.
You know?
You're one of those people?
I feel like I'm one of those
Yeah.
people.
I feel like you are too.
I feel like I fit in really.
I feel like
well
if you were
immediately.
doing a lot of dirty talk in your regular civilian sex life, then maybe you're a little different. I don't really know that there's like a lot of people who are doing a lot of dirty talk in their normal sex lives. Do you feel like there is?
Dirty talk. I don't know, but I would say that that's a sign that you might be meant for great things.
Because I feel like I didn't get into talking on camera that much until I started camming, because you're forced to talk,
right?
And so it kind of makes you talk more, because otherwise, like, I feel like I was a lot more silent and making just sounds. So yeah.
What are you motivated by in terms of the adult industry? Like, are you motivated by just wanting to have a lot of really good sex right now, or do you want to leave your mark on the industry in some way, or like what's your thought process on what you're doing?
I would love to leave a mark on the industry, actually. I think what was cool was sort of like Vixen put me on this little pedestal when I first started, and nobody had access to me. And when I got out, it was kind of cool because people like knew who I was, which was interesting to me, coming from somebody who modeled for a company that sold to Fashion Nova, you know? So like having people recognize me and know my face and know my work was like, that's pretty remarkable. And it kind of gave me that sensation of like, I want to do that, you know, like I want to have people like remember me and like have these moments of things that like, I essentially, I like people getting off to me. When I was a cam girl, like the fact that I made people's day better, I'm like, that's what I want to provide in this world. That's what I want to provide in this industry. On sets, when people are done working with me and they loved working with me, I'm like, that's how I want people to feel, like that they had a good experience with me and that can be fun without, you know, people say like fun anymore because, you know, people aren't doing drugs and drinking on set anymore. I'm like, a lot of fun. This is what we do for work. We for work. This is the, like, your worst days are some people's best days.
Yeah. And
you know?
I mean, I could like deal with a girl having like a drink on set, but in terms of like wanting more drinking and drugs, like this is just not really like the kind of environment where more of that thing, like, you know, I like the idea that if someone did want to do drugs, they'd have to be really, really sneaky about it. That seems good. Like, at least if you like have to work around it.
Well, I've always said too, I actually don't prefer sex. I mean, maybe a drink or two, but I don't really prefer like intoxicated sex. I feel dry. I feel like my body's numb and I can't get off that.
And then
easily.
you can't remember all of it.
And you can't, exactly.
That's the worst part. Like, I know I had great sex last night, but I have no idea what happened and I don't remember it.
My pussy's really puffy right now.
Some of the most epic that her and I had back in the day, like when we were drunk as back, I mean, I can't remember shit. I know it happened, but it would be cool if I could like remember some of it.
Yeah, so definitely sober sex rules. I love it.
So let me ask you this question, and this is a decidedly not sexy question. What are the things that you are into or you pay attention to in terms of your non-sex life? Music, art, movies, etc. Like, what are the things that you're actually into? Nothing, just
No, I mean, seriously though, okay, because like, listen, so I got, that's a really weird way to answer that question for me, but it's like when I was in nursing school, when I was trying to go to nursing school, right, I like got a little bit into nursing school and I basically quit right in my first semester of finishing my degree prior. And something I continuously noticed about the way I felt in that industry was how hormonally motivated this entire world is, and like how you make decisions every single day based off your hormones. And that doesn't even mean anything about like being horny. It's just like, this is what you want to eat. This is how you feel. You identify as this, like this color makes you feel good, whatever. These chemicals in our brain make us feel this way. And like, I really am very sex motivated. Like, that's just something that, like, when I look at art, like my sister's an artist and she does a lot of like female art. She does a lot of like naked bodies and different body parts that are like hidden in her designs. And I'm like, that's the kind of art I like. You know, I like things that make you feel like you're a part of it. That's human nature. I don't know. Our bodies are pretty beautiful. Am I answering this correctly, or do I sound like I'm stoned right now?
I think you answered it correctly, but I'm also
sex is what you're into.
I'm convinced that she's the person that we've ever interviewed.
I don't know though, because like I've also like talked to Angela White, and I'm like, whoo, that girl is.
She's the other person that came to mind for me as like the people I know. I think of her, and I think I now think of you.
Yeah.
It's just,
what are you into? I don't know. I think I'm into sex.
Because I feel like the days, okay, because and we talked about my energy level. I'm like, the days that's not me are the days I'm tired and sleeping, and like that's why when I'm sick or under the weather, and the times I'm not, I'm literally like,
what is this?
What the is this? I feel so depressed. I'm like, this sucks.
Thank God that you were born into America in the era that you were born. It would be such a waste if she had been born into like Afghanistan and not been able to act on these impulses. Don't you think?
Don't forget the Middle Easterns.
Not to get political, but I'm just glad that feminism exists and you're able to live this life.
me too.
For sure.
The fact that I used to suppress it is just horrible.
Well, you said you're still having really good sex in the relationship. You're just not doing it with a lot of people. And it seems like you want to a lot of people.
A lot of people. I love. Everyone's got different flavors, you know.
Well, I know some people you
Yeah, speaking of flavors, Lena,
Yeah.
eat her.
Okay.
Ooh, yes, I got a good flavor for you.
Ready to cut?